Right, let's look into how we delete an item from an array. But before we get to this point, we just need to make sure that we are like we have on our menu, we grab the information from the actual firestore. So I'm just going to copy a lot from in here. So I'm going to menu.view and I'm just going to copy the import statement into my admin statement. So here in my admin.view, add this in, click save. You'll have a little error because we're not using it yet. That's all right. And inside the menu items, let's just remove all these things like we did before, and having the empty menu items here. That makes it go away over here. Everything is right. And then we're going to grab the created we used last time to actually grab all the data from what we call the firestore. And let's do this just after and before method. So paste this in, click save, and now we're back to this. Awesome. So that was easy, right? What we want to do next is we want to actually delete an item, and before I do this I just want to go to the page here. So if we are at Firebase documentation and we expand the add manage data and delete, there's an example of how we can do this here, and if you want to do it in different languages, go ahead, go, woohoo! Anyways, here we are going to use this. So we're going to use, we already have this set up, so we have our db menu add that uses this, and then we're going to go into the document, and in this case, in their example, they're using DC, is because it's pre-programmed into the test firestore they have, but we're not going to use this because we don't have anything called DC. And what we actually want to do is we want to make it dynamic, because if we click delete where we have chili cheddar or we have cheddar chili, we need to grab the specific document and delete only that one, not all four, and not something called DC. So what we want to target instead of DC is the ID here instead. So that's what we're going to try in our code. So we're going to take this and we're going to copy this and we're going to create a method that actually deletes an item. So go down here, and in the method where we have add to basket, I'm going to create one called delete item. And set this up now so everything is correct. Oh, sorry. So have the comma separation here and like this. So this is what I want, the structure, right? And I just mentioned we want to delete a specific, we want to target something, and this thing we want to target is the ID. We want to grab this ID. So it's 0xy whatever, right, from firestore. So this is the thing we're passing through and we're going to test on. So before I continue, I just want to go up to where I have my delete button up here, right? Because I want to set up a, where is it? Edit, delete, there we go. So here in my button called delete, just inside the button, because I'm clicking the button, I want to have my add click equal and delete item, it's already there. And in here, I also want to make sure that if I click this button here, which is attached to test bagel 2, I'm pushing through the correct ID. So I'm going to grab the item, because that's what we're using up here in our loop. So for each menu item, we store each of those in a loop for an item. If this was called piggy, then we also needed to write piggy here, right? But we not. So item.id, and the ID is stored here, right? So we stored the ID. That's why we had it before. So this is for the delete button. Cool, back to our method down here. So now we have our delete button ready and we're passing in our information for that. We need to set up what we need to do. And if we go back here, I'm just going to see here. So we need to grab the DB collection and so on and so on and so on. What we want to do is I want to do an if statement first, right? Because I want to make sure. So if ID is true and there's an ID, we want to do something here, right? So actually we don't want to do that anyway. We already have the catch here, I can see. So we're just going to copy this and paste this in, and I'm just going to move everything in so it looks a little bit better. And control, great. So in here we're going to switch this so everything fits correctly. So we don't want this part here to state because we don't have this collection. We're just going to use the DB menu add because that's what we saved. We still want the document as they do over here. We don't want the DC to be because we don't have that, so we want to grab the ID instead. and then we want to delete, and then we want the then promise, and we have the function. And you can push this out. Let's just actually keep this here so we can actually see in the document, in the console log, that we're deleting something. So let's click save, see if we have an error. Everything looks fine on mine. Let's open this and open this. And I'm just gonna delete some of the test bagels, right? I'm just gonna open up my console log here so we can see, we still have this printing out, but that's fine. So if I delete something now, I should get prompted over here, says deletion complete, and it should disappear over here immediately. So let's remove test bagel 3. So document successfully deleted, and you can see over here it just poofed. And then I can refresh. It's not because we're not using VueJS still. So now we deleted from online our actual documentation by simply setting up this this method here where it grabs the ID and just go through. So we can remove the console log if we don't want to look at those anymore. You can leave them or just mark them out. I'm just going to mark them out because I'm lazy. So basically this one down here, the catch is, think of this as an if statement really. So if this works, you delete it, and then if we have a catch here that says if we have an error, you're going to print out over here there was an error, fix it. Basically that's what it's doing. Really simplified though. But yeah, now we have our deletion up and running, and cool. So see you in the next video.